Hi, I'm Steve Sample with Bama Talk. Don't miss a single episode of Bama Talk Show, available now on iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app, and on the web at bigbrainsmedia.com.
This is the Weather Xtreme video. This is for Tuesday, the 29th of January, the morning edition. I'm James Spann. A severe weather setup for Alabama late tonight after midnight, early tomorrow morning, and a lot to talk about, so we'll get in there in detail, the threats and the timing and everything else. Let's start with some Skycam shots. These were captured early this morning at the somewhat insane hour of 5 a.m. That's the Tuscaloosa Skycam. The sky is cloudy, and the dew points are creeping up, already nearing 60 in spots in West Alabama. There's the Jasper Skycam, and down south, that's our Gulf Shores camera, and their dew point at 5 o'clock this morning was 66. And that air mass will be advecting north, setting the stage for the severe weather conditions here late tonight. And there's your trough. Excellent upper support. And already this morning, we got some issues over Oklahoma, as you'll see in just a minute. Those are some temperatures at 5 o'clock. Still cool over northeast Alabama. Gadsden's got 48. That's the cool spot. But look at Tuscaloosa, and they've got 62. And Memphis is at 63. And we are looking at low 70s today. Not too far from record levels. And again, there's the push of the warm air coming up in advance of the front, which is over northwestern Kansas, and behind that, it's pretty cold where they've got snow falling over parts of the Rockies. You can see winter storm warnings up for the mountains of Colorado, snow issues over Utah, Idaho, Washington, the mountains of Nevada, into Oregon. Also this morning, some freezing rain problems up north, Minnesota, Wisconsin, parts of upper Michigan, and still some snow issues in the northeast United States. But mostly wind advisories down here, those darker shades of brown, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, and we'll probably have a wind advisory for tonight and tomorrow. All right, this is the beginning of the event here. This is the first tornado watch of the day. This is in effect for much of Oklahoma until 12 noon today. And we'll be watching storms expanding in that area. And this is the convective outlook today, a moderate risk. The enhanced risk over much of Arkansas into some of the adjacent parts of Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana. And surrounding that, the standard slight risk runs all the way from Houston to near Indianapolis. And we note that that slight risk extends almost over to I-65. And this carries us through 6 a.m. tomorrow. And then, beyond that, the risk moves east after 6 a.m. tomorrow, as you'll see. This is the tornado probabilities with this event later today and tonight. Those numbers are very high. A 15% chance of a tornado within 25 miles of a given point over a pretty good chunk of the state of Arkansas. And this is the chance of damaging wind in that region. And in the core region there over Arkansas, it's about 50-50 chance you'll see damaging wind at your house. So very high percentages. Now, this is the risk tomorrow. And again, this begins at 6 a.m. tomorrow. And most of Alabama's in the risk, and there is an enhancement through much of east and south Alabama, that 30% area. And with this, as we've discussed for days, the main threat will be from damaging straight-line winds here, but we can't rule out the chance of an isolated tornado. This is the rain for the next 5 days. This carries us through Sunday morning. And this is showing rain amounts of 1 to 1.5 inches. And no doubt there will be tremendous rains when the squall line comes through, but thankfully it will be moving in a very rapid clip, so I don't think we'll have enough rain for flooding. If anything happens, it would be temporary. All right, this is the GFS, the 06Z run at noon today. There's your big trough to the west, and down below that, notice the pressure gradient increasing. That means it gets windy this afternoon and tonight. Surface low, 998 millibars near Oklahoma City, and storms break out to the east and south of that thing. And then tomorrow, the trough is progressive. And look at the forcing along that. You see why we're thinking this will be mainly a linear event with that kind of forcing. And down below, the GFS is a smidgen slower on this run. This is at noon. But again, we like to look at the mesoscale models, the RPM. We'll kind of walk you through this in a timeline. This is 7 o'clock tonight. And again, we're quiet here. Line of storms is nearing Little Rock, Arkansas. And again, main threat, straight line winds, but there certainly could be a tornado if discrete storms can form ahead of the line. 5 a.m. tomorrow, the line is into northwest Alabama. This is suggesting that the line of storms may be hitting the shoals around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And this is why having a weather radio is such a big deal. Most people are sound asleep when this thing blows through. And while I really don't think we'll have a lot of tornado warnings, there is potential for some pretty widespread wind damage, tree and power line damage here with this thing, with winds that could easily gust to 50, 60, 70 miles an hour. And I'll show you the wind fields here in just a minute. All right, this is 8 a.m. The batch of storms coming through Birmingham and Tuscaloosa on up toward Lake Gunnersville. So for the Birmingham Metro, if this is right, this would be about 8 o'clock. And then at noon, it's pretty much exiting our area. This thing would affect Anniston, Gadsden by 9 or 10 o'clock. And again, by midday, it's down there near Lafayette, down to Greenville and Geneva, or around Atmore and Bruton. So there's your timing. And then 4 o'clock, everything is out of here, and we'll probably start to clear late in the day. Some of the severe weather parameters, this is 6 a.m. tomorrow. The lifted index, or the instability. And you can see that tongue of instability running all the way up into Indiana. And the lifted index drops to -4 in spots. So even though it's 6 a.m., there is certainly sufficient instability for severe weather. And this is the helicity, the 0 to 3 kilometer helicity, veering of the wind with altitude in relation to storm motion. And needless to say, those numbers are almost off the chart to the north. And down here, they're certainly sufficient for rotating storms, but considering the forcing of this thing, we think it will be mostly linear. But within the line, there could be a tornado or two where there's a little break or a kink. And if anything forms ahead of the line, there could be an isolated tornado. So we can't take the chance of that off the table. But again, this is what, out of all the things we've seen, this is what impresses me is the low-level jet. This is the wind field at about 5,000 feet or 850 millibars. And you can see some 70 and 80 knot winds in there. And it's not going to take a lot to transfer that down to the surface. So clearly the straight line wind potential is the greatest threat here. And quickly, this is based on analog guidance. This is where you go back and you look at the top 8 similar events. And this is where the severe weather kind of happened. And you can see that 30% circle covering much of Alabama and Mississippi and Tennessee. We often say going back at looking events in the past, a valid way of looking at what might happen in the future. And so, 8 similar events have produced severe weather, and the chance of severe weather is in the 30% bracket. And again, that's a pretty high number. And let me be sure you understand what this is. This is the top 15 analog events. If you take the last 15 events like this and put all the tornadoes that those 15 events have produced, they look like that. We're not saying that one event's going to do that, but 15 have. And again, so with similar events producing some tornadoes around here, you can't rule out that chance. So a little after midnight tonight through late morning tomorrow, get the warnings, know what to do, have a plan. We'll be okay, but it's going to be shaking and baking around here. All right, Thursday, we turn colder. High should be at or just over 50. The 540 line really goes down below here, so we might not get out of the 40s, but the sky will be bright and sunny. Friday, we'll start the day around freezing. Another sunny day. The high should be in the mid-50s. Now, Saturday, a cold front north of here. We think the day Saturday will be dry. Temperatures in the upper 50s, maybe approaching 60. Now, this is midnight Saturday night. The cold front comes in with a chance of a few sprinkles or maybe a little light rain, but not much. There's not moisture. But we'll need to mention that for Saturday night. And yeah, we see the critical thickness line up there over the northeastern corner of the state, and that's suggesting maybe a little bit of snow for North Georgia or eastern Tennessee. Not a lot. Again, there's just not much moisture here. This is the European valid at midnight Saturday night, and it's even colder. It's got the critical thickness line down to Montgomery, with a chance of snow flurries for maybe Birmingham or Anniston. Hey, we'll worry about this later. One way or the other, shouldn't be a big deal, but just interesting to note. This is the GFS snow cover Sunday morning at 6 o'clock, and it actually puts down some snow with this thing to the north over the eastern half of Tennessee up into Kentucky. So, but again, it's a minor issue for us. And then Sunday, a new surge of dry air drops in. Not really cold. The highs would be in the 50s and lows in the 30s. And then a week from, or a Monday of next week, this is showing a new system to the north, surface low around the Quad Cities. Monday night, a batch of showers coming through, maybe some thunder, but again, it doesn't look like a severe weather setup. And then Tuesday, a new surge of cooler air drops in. And look at that setup up there in New England. That might be a big snow event for New York City if this happens to verify, but that's a week out. We'll just jump to the end of the forecast quickly. This is the 13th of February. Trough over the east, but no sign of any really, really super-duper cold air at this point. That would be seasonal, if that's right. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video this morning. Notes on the blog, the next video here by 4 o'clock this afternoon. And don't forget to watch us on ABC 3340 News on the live stream or the television side at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock this evening. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.
Be sure to catch the next episode of Just Talking It Up on iTunes, Stitcher, your favorite podcast app, or on the web at bigbrainsmedia.com.
Hey, you forgot our names.
No.
You did. You forgot our names.
Don't be silly. I'm Janet, you're Crash, see?
She's just like a goose. She wakes up in a new world every day.